Hey everyone, welcome back. In my last video, we left off here with the finished computer desk and monitor, and now it's time to add more stuff to this room. So I figured I'd start with making a bookshelf. I used wide craft sticks that I got from Dollar Tree. I cut off the curved edges and glued them together. I really didn't measure precisely, as you can see. I just used the width of the bookshelf to determine how wide to cut the shelves. I sanded any rough edges and glued everything together using wood glue. I painted the back of the shelves in 3 different colors. And then I taped that off and painted the rest of it black. Then I had to go in and touch up where the black paint bled underneath the tape. And then I sealed the whole thing off with some Mod Podge. And here's how the shelf will look in the room. The first accessory I made was a Pokemon ball. This is a wooden craft bead with part of a Q-tip stick glued in the center of it. To hold the bead still while I painted, I put a dollop of hot glue onto a scrap piece of cardstock and pushed the bead into it before it cooled completely. The hot glue did a great job holding the bead securely, and it was easy to remove once I was finished. Then I took time to use painter's tape to make the lines straight. It was tedious, but using painter's tape to help paint straight lines was worth it. I did paint the circle freehand, and I think this came out much better than I expected, so I'm pretty happy about that. Next, I wanted to make some gamer magazines to scatter around the desk. First, I printed off some magazine covers from the good old internet and glued it onto some printer paper. I am using Fabri-Tac glue because it is not water-based, and that is supposed to be better for paper because water-based glue could cause warping. But then I forgot about that and used tacky glue to attach the pages inside the magazine. Luckily, it worked out fine. It was such a small amount of glue, it didn't really matter. I made several magazines and stuffed them messily in the desk. Maybe some kids are neater than others, but I know if this were my room as a kid, this is probably how it would look 90% of the time. An essential for any gamer is a great pair of wireless headphones. So I started with a strip of cardstock that I had glued around a large paintbrush and allowed to air dry completely. These polymer beads had just the right shape to make the earpieces of the headphones. After clamping those to the cardstock, I soaked it in some watered down white glue to help stiffen the paper and keep its shape. Once that dried, I used a hole punch to make little circles to cover the outside of the earpiece to give it a smoother appearance. Like most headphones, it's got to be painted black, but I did end up changing the color of the earpieces, which you'll see in the photos later. Okay, I have some air dry clay that I'm going to use to make a game controller. I have never made one of these before, so I started off just trying to make the general shape of the controller, and I wasn't really happy with how it was coming out. I had printed an image of a game controller, and so I used that to try and help me get the right shape. I started over here and just flattened it out to be hopefully the right thickness, and then I just ended up cutting the clay out using the printed image that I had. Once that dried, of course I painted it black. Then I simply used the image to make the button details, and I gave it a red color accent, and I made a charging stand for it as well. I didn't get that on video, but it's just made of some scrap wood from a miniature kit I had before. I had this 1/12 scale plastic cup that came in a package of dishes that I got from Temu. And this watered down brown paint should make it look like a cup of soda, or maybe a cup of chocolate milk, or maybe even it's a mocha cold brew. Whatever delicious beverage it is, I feel like it needs a straw. It was pretty simple to roll a straw out of clay and give it some red stripes. Okay, here I am rolling out some more air dry clay, and instead of straws, I'm gonna make some colored pencils. So I'm rolling this out, and I'm gonna cut several pieces to make the, several pens and pencils. Here I'm making sure they're the right size to fit inside this coffee mug. I made this coffee mug out of paper. I do not have any footage of that, but I will try to make more in another video. Once the pencils were all painted and dry, I simply glued them into the cup. I mentioned in my previous video that this is a gift for my nephew. Now he looks pretty cool in his fedora, so I wanted to make one for his room. I don't really know how to make a miniature fedora, and unfortunately I am missing some of the video, but I'll do my best to explain what I did. This plastic cap came from one of my acrylic paint bottles. It is about the right size for a hat, so I took a brown paper bag and then I folded and shaped it as best I could. I wet it down with glue. Then once it dried, I covered it with felt and more glue, and I ended up with this. I decided the best way to display this hat in the room is with a hat stand. I made this using the same beads that I used for the Pokeball and the headphones and connected them with a toothpick. I have this skateboard left over from another project. I didn't care for the image it came with, and it was on the wrong side of the board. So first I'll be painting over that graphic. I'll be giving it a more realistic texture by mixing some baking soda with acrylic paint. I just love this detail because it feels just like a real skateboard. Next, I'm going to attach a graphic to the back of the board and attach the wheels. Finally, I'm adding some caviar beads to mimic the bolts that you would see on a life-size skateboard. For another accessory, I decided to make this large wooden craft bead into a beach ball. After I covered the holes on either end of the bead, I sketched out 3 sections and painted it to match the shelves. Another fun accessory I wanted to make is one of those Minecraft picks. It was challenging to cut these out. These tiny sewing scissors I found at Hobby Lobby helped out a lot. I cut the shape out of a sheet of foam and glued the graphic to both sides. And then I covered any white bits with marker. I think it's so cute. Now here I'm trying to decide where to place all the posters and things to decorate the room. I still have quite a bit left to do. My next video should be the final video. I'll be adding some more accessories as well as some additional lighting. And finally, I'll need to add some kind of framing as a border around the front of the box. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I know it's been quite a while since the last one was posted. Life has thrown me a few curveballs, and so sometimes my little hobby just has to take a back seat. But I have so much fun creating these things, and I will keep sharing as much as I'm able. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye!